Onward progressing, I came to lordly Aram Tzova, where the Lord commanded the blessing. Over this diadem of kings, glory shines and sings. This line was written in the early 13th century by the Jewish Andalusian poet Yehuda el-Kharizi after his visit to the northern Syrian city of Aram Tzova, known as Aleppo or Halab. This blessed city, as depicted by el-Kharizi, is one of the oldest cities in the Middle East. Moreover, Aleppo was a focal point for musical exchanges between various religious and ethnic communities, which contributed to the development of a vibrant and significant local Jewish music tradition. In this unit, we will explore the emergence of this unique community and examine one of its most significant musical customs, the singing of Bakashot. We begin with a brief introduction of the community's history, with particular emphasis on its musical traditions. The Hebrew name for Aleppo, Aram Tzova, appears several times in the Bible, including Psalm 60, which describes the city's conquest by Yoav ben Tzruya, King David's war minister, during the period of the First Temple. After the conquest, the first Jews settled in Aleppo, establishing a community that would remain an integral part of the city's population for more than 2 millennia. The Jewish community of Aleppo played a significant role in Jewish history, and several key events highlight its importance. In the 10th century, the great rabbi and philosopher Saadia Gaon corresponded with the Jewish community of Aleppo and even visited it on his way to Babylon, where he was later appointed head of the renowned Sura Yeshiva, the rabbinic academy in Babylon. By the 11th century, a well-established community formed under the leadership of Baruch ben Yitzchak, a prominent scholar and interpreter of rabbinic literature. Even Maimonides, Harambam, the renowned Jewish philosopher, is documented as having corresponded with the sage of Aleppo on musical matters. Toward the end of the 14th century, the Aleppo Codex, Keter Aram Tzova, considered the most accurate manuscript of the Hebrew Bible, arrived in Aleppo. It remained there for 5 centuries until it was secretly transferred to Israel in 1947. The 16th century brought dramatic changes to Aleppo's Jewish community, with the city's occupation by the Ottoman Empire and the arrival of many Sephardic Jews following their expulsion from Spain in 1492. These Sephardic immigrants became cornerstone of Aleppo's Jewish community, shaping both its administrative and cultural life. Towards the end of the 19th century, immigration from Aleppo's Jewish community increased, and today its main centers are in Brooklyn and Jerusalem, as we will explore in our upcoming videos. Aleppo's musical life was rich and involved many of its communities. As early as the 10th century, 2 of the most important works on musical theory in the Arab world were written in Aleppo. Kitab al-Musiqi al-Kabir, the Grand Book of Music, by Al-Farabi, and Kitab al-Aghani, the Book of Singing, by Al-Isfahani. The city's love for music was widely recognized. Aleppo was affectionately known in the Arab world as al-Tarab, the mother of Tarab, the joy of music. For example, this is what the 18th century Scottish physician-traveler Alexander Russell wrote on the musical qualities of Aleppo's residents. The Aleppians in general have a correct ear and are fond of music. They have technical names for the notes as well as for the different measures, but they have no written music. They learn the airs and symphonies by ear, retain them by memory, and communicate them to others in the same manner they themselves were taught. The passion and talent for music were shared by all religious groups in Aleppo. This shared musicality was also influenced by the significant spiritual movements across the city's various communities, such as the Muslim Sufis and the Jewish Mekubalim, followers of the Kabbalah. These movements regarded music as a mystical medium for connecting with the divine, fostering extensive musical collaboration among Aleppo's diverse communities. Members of different sects would gather in the city's cafes to discuss musical and spiritual matters, listen to one another's musical expressions, and even sing and play together. A major musical genre performed by the Jewish community of Aleppo was the paraliturgical piyutim. As we already learned, the piyutim's texts do not derive from the Bible, but were composed later, starting as early as the 3rd century by Jewish poets from Central Asia to the Iberian Peninsula. Through the piyut, the believer communicates with God, poses existential questions, and pleads for his assistance and mercy. The Jews of Aleppo adopted existing piyutim, such as those written by the prolific liturgical poet Israel Najara, while also creating their own. One of the key events where these original piyutim were sung was during the singing of bakashot. In modern Hebrew, bakashot simply means requests, but in this context, the term has a much deeper spiritual meaning, closer to supplications, asking for God for guidance and assistance. The bakashot are performed in the late hours of Friday night, Erev Shabbat, during the winter months. This ritual remains a significant part of the Aleppian Jewish musical tradition and continues to be practiced to this day in synagogues, mainly in Jerusalem. Additionally, as we will explore in our next session and the following unit, bakashot attracts Jewish worshippers from various ethnic and cultural backgrounds and is becoming a central element of the contemporary soundscape of Jerusalem. At the end of this unit, we will have the opportunity to experience the bakashot repertoire firsthand by learning with Cantor Moshe Chabusha the piyut El Mistater, Hiding God, which opens every bakashot ceremony. But before that, let's take a closer look at the historical development of the bakashot and its contemporary practice in Jerusalem.